What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Made in Abyss Season 2. This is episode 4, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
So pretty much following up where the last episode left off. I think, this majority of this episode was just separated into three different segments, focusing on Reg, the other one focusing on Rico, and the last one on Nanachi. And we do have a little small snippet of, I think, one of the characters who appeared in the flashbacks.
I'm trying to figure out which character you're talking about. Never mind. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Never mind.
So the first one focusing on Reg. So Reg, finally meets with the Princess of Hollows named Fapata. But of course, Fapata is seems to be pretty familiar with Reg, that he used to be friends with her, but Reg mentions that he vaguely recalls or has no memory of even ever meeting her. So it leads into I guess into some kind of weird interaction with him, in which Fabata I guess
she needed to prove that, or she needed to confirm that he was actually Reg, and first she tries to sniff him to I guess confirm that it's him, but I guess that wasn't enough, so she ends up poking at his wounds and licking it, and then that I guess confirms to her that it's really him. Another thing too that's interesting is that she refers to him as Reg when Reg says that he didn't get his name until Rico had named him Reg. So she also called him Reg, so that's kind of interesting if that's true.
Yeah, and of course Reg mentions that it was Fabata, the one who left I guess if you guys remember that little note that was left back in the first episode, and it was the second episode, back when Rico ended up missing the white whistle. She left a note I guess one that has Reg, but then the other two are crossed out of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just shows that Fapita is probably jealous of these new friends that Reg has, and she just kind of wants him to herself.
Yeah, and of course Reg, seeing that he won't learn, other than realizing that Fapita knows who Reg is, he's not really learning anything from her. So instead, he decides to just return to the village and meet up with the others. And of course, this leads to Fapita displaying a hint of jealousy that Reg is hanging out with Rico and Nanachi. So yeah. I'm just curious, where that's going to lead into. On his way back, he comes across he comes across a lot of these these shrine fortunes, or these nameplates. It causes him to wonder what is going on, or what is happening in the surface, and then that's where we ended off from there. So I think the next segment we focus on Rico, who recovers from her food poisoning from the last episode, and she decides to go out and look for Reg and Nanachi. But of course, during that trip, I think several hollows end up tailing her, and they try to abduct Mania. But of course, both her Rico and Mania get saved by the same hollow that accidentally hurt Mania in the last episode. I think it was you said it was Ma. The hollow's name. Yeah, Ma. Well, I mean, this hollow can just only repeatedly says Ma over and over and over again. So this is kind of the reason why Rico decides to give this hollow the name Ma. So of course Rico befriends Ma, and what was it? I think they head over to a restaurant where Rico's encounters another hollow. I think they said it's a hollow version of the I can't. Starts with a W. I can't pronounce it.
Wazikian.
Wazik. Okay.
Yeah, like yeah, he's there, and then the holo at the restaurant actually speaks, seems to speak like human language. But yeah, and then Rico ends up eating something that's it ends up, I guess, being testicles or something like that, because it looked nasty, whatever the hell it was. So it was like, as tends to be the norm with everything she seems to eat lately. So, but I guess it must have been good, because even though it looks disgusting, I guess it tastes good. So,
I mean, hopefully she doesn't get food poisoning again.
It feels like it's just a running joke at this point that she's just that's probably going to happen again. But yeah, but then the other perspective, of course, we focus on is Nanachi. Which Nanachi, I think, is currently with Majikaja, and she Majikaja, I think, ends up like mentioning Miti, and of course Nanachi has a lot of questions about this, but Majikaja basically says that I guess he implies that Bondru came down there with Midi. And like I guess it ended up giving it to them or something. I'm not exactly sure, but
I have some questions about this. I mean, well, eventually, like Nanachi, Majikaze escorts Nanachi to where Midi is, and like she ends up finding Midi alive and well, somehow much to her shock. And
I kind of forget exactly how this happened. I don't know if it was some kind of cloning or some other method. Like I forget it exactly.
I mean, if we remember, like Nanachi wanted Reg to literally incinerate Midi to death, and now
to put her out of her misery. Yeah.
Unless like, if you remember, like Midi like is impervious to getting killed of sorts. Like no matter how many times she gets stabbed or whatever wound she gets, she just regenerates from it every single time.
And the only thing that ended up working was the Reg's incinerator.
Unless she found a way to like, I don't know, like regenerate from that too. But it's, I'm just curious like how she's even alive from this.
I honestly do not remember what happens here, but I do think they go over it. But yeah, like we see that, of course, it's Midi is just kind of there with I think I forget what this thing's name is, but it's one of the guardians of, or the what are the overseers.
I think they call I think they call him Beloff.
Okay, yeah. So that and if you remember too, Beloff was one of the characters that we saw in the flashback. And of course, speaking of which, we also end the episode with another character that we've been seeing in the flashback, and yeah, we just I'm pretty sure people have a lot of questions about what's going on with her, but that's pretty much going to be revealed throughout the more they show this flashback. Of course, you can expect that some tragic stuff happens. So
yeah. I mean, the last we left off, I think it was only like a small snippet of that.
It was just when they found the Golden City is the kind of where we left in the flashback. I'm not exactly sure if this is the way it happens in the manga. From what I remember, it was just like a long segment, a long flashback segment. But it seems like throughout the season, they're just kind of like, giving us parts of the flashback while showing what's going on in the main, in the present timeline.
Yeah.
But I thought this was. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, like you were gonna say. I guess you were gonna say the same thing, but I do believe that this was a pretty decent episode, showing off like I guess the interaction, or supposedly the relationship between Fapata and the Reg, and supposedly hinting at like where it's gonna lead. Like now like supposedly like Fapata has some like kinds of like forms of jealousy towards Rico and also Nanachi, and of course knowing that like now that Midi's still alive somehow, after what happened to her like at the end of the last season, it still leads, it still gives us a lot of questions as to what really happened.
Yeah, and I definitely wonder what might have happened there. But yeah, like it was a pretty decent episode. you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of the anime onlys have a lot of questions at this point, especially in regards to MIDI. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about it. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
It was a good episode.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, it's just like it you know, it shows off a lot of new stuff in regards to Fabata. I mean, I'm pretty sure this isn't the last time we're gonna get to see of her, but I'm also curious to, like, you know, what really happened. I keep forgetting her name. The flashback character at the end of the episode. So I'm assuming that something might have happened while her and their expedition were exploring the Golden City.
Yeah. Well, and I also like that the episode also sort of reveals a little bit more about, like, just some of the hollows that live in this society. Like, they don't, I guess that they don't all follow the whole, like, their society's, like, rules about balance, because they were pretty much about to eat Rico, and they kind of dragged her into that dark alleyway. And Rico was said, you know, saying, well, something about, like, you know, I don't have her, something about her value or something like that. But and as you saw, like, after she got rescued by Ma, like, the balancing system came in and just decided to you know, take care of those hollows. But yeah, like, it kind of revealed a little bit about that, like, you know, not the, you know, the hollows in their society, I guess there are those that will just break the rules like that. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting in particular. But yeah, so that all being said, guys, until next Wednesday, we will see you all next time.